12 Cards of Christmas. Today I've got something really unique for you. We are going to be working with the Like Nobody Elf stamp and thin cut set. Now this came out last year, but it is still currently available. This little elf has some matching die cuts, and he's cut out in a little bit of a unique way, so let's get started where I can show you. We're working with a white daisy card base that measures 5.5 by 4 1/4. We're going to cover it with blue Belle cardstock. We're also going to need a piece of white daisy. That white daisy I'm going to emboss with an embossing folder of snowflakes. So I'm just going to put it inside. It's going to be 1/4 inch smaller than the blue Belle. And after I run it through my die cutting machine, it's going to look like this. So it's got quite a raised pattern of swirls and snowflakes. We're going to use our tape runner to adhere that to the blue Belle cardstock. I haven't got that quite square. Let's try again. I'm going to line it up with my grid here. It'll be easier. Much better. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and put that down on the card base itself. This time it's going to cover completely. And now we're going to get out the stamps and dies. So you'll see this drawing here of the elf. He's going to be holding a sign. I'm going to stamp and die cut that first from white daisy, and then I'm going to color it up. I'm going to be using the True Blue TriBlend marker. I'm using both the light and the medium shade, and I used the Fair Skin marker. I also used the gold brown to do the elf's hair if you want to use that as well. So this piece here is this stamp with the frame and this thin cut, and I've gone ahead and colored that up. And now we need to add the sentiment. You have some choices here. You could also give him a set of packages to carry, but I thought we'd say that someone made the nice list today. So I'm going to put that stamp on a my acrylic block. It's a little bit too big for my small one, so I am going with a rather large block. I'm going to have to be careful not to get ghost images. And today I'm working with blue Belle ink. So it's You Made the Nice List. I'm going to get that right on that sign there. Perfect. Now I need to stamp and die cut our elf. But as you can see, the die is one large piece where the banner is going to go over the center. And what I've actually got are 2 stamps. So where I would normally prefer to stamp first and then die cut, in this case you must die cut first. So I have die cut a piece of white daisy with this die here. And now we're going to get started with some stamping. I'm going to put him on my foam piece. Get that my acrylics block back out. And this time we'll be using intense black ink. This is my favorite ink for use with our TriBlend markers. So I'm going to stamp his little face first. Pull that stamp off and put it on the block. Get out the intense black ink. Ink that up. And I need to line it up pretty carefully on this die. It's got a tiny little slit where the end of his hat comes over his little sign. So I want to make sure to keep that in mind and get that just lined up. So I'm just going to use a my acrylic block so I can see right through and stamp. Now I also need to stamp his feet and his stockings. So I'm going to pull that stamp off next, set it on my acrylic block, and ink it up. And then I will set that down here. So let me give you an idea what this is going to look like when it's finished. Because his little fingers are already on the sign here, when we set this here in the center, it will look like he's kind of holding it over his face and body. So we don't actually need to color the center here. So I worked with, again, those TriBlend markers to make it match the sign. And I did his hat in the medium and the brim in the lighter of the true blue shade. I used fair skin on his face, and I used gold brown to color in his hair. And I'm left with this. Now I need to line this up and make sure that I've got the color spread far enough so that there's no white showing through. Oh yeah, that looks great. So we can set these stamps aside and finish building our card. Now, I'm thinking that my little guy is going to stand like so. And I could choose to put him on here with some 3D foam tape or with my tape runner. I think in this case, I'm going to go with tape runner because I've got a lot of dimension already. I'm going to set this in first. So I'll add a small amount of tape runner, come underneath that flap for his hat, and press. Okay, now I'm going to turn the whole thing over. Get a little bit of tape runner on there. I think he looks like Jack Frost. Thanks for joining me for today's card in the 12 Cards of Christmas series. Come back tomorrow to see what's next.